Happy Father's Day, fellas. Happy Father's Day. You see, I'm sweating. I got my window down. It's hot out here. Be with all three of my kids today and enjoy this day today, man. So all my subscriber, my brothers as fathers, happy us day, even though it's every day for us. But I wanted to drop a quick video, man, regarding retention, brothers. So I'm a I'm gonna basically drop a video to you brothers, man, regarding retention. And this right here was on my mind or whatever, just by, me driving in my car or at the gym, me going to the gym and everything. But brothers, we gotta stop, you know, not even we, because, us on retention, we try to purify our eyes to not look the way like the world look out of their eyes, so. But to all my brothers that's trying to be on this journey, man, purify your eyes, because I notice, man, a lot of brothers out here have, the reason why, I'm gonna just keep it a buck. The reason why these women go get BBLs or even go to the gym and get in shape or even go for these walks or whatever, a lot of them not doing it for healthy reasons. They're doing it for reasons to get brothers' attentions, man. And by them getting brothers' attention, I said attentions. By them getting brothers' attention, brothers are really, just, forgetting all about their self-respect, man. And they forgetting all about, having values. Like, it's like a vehicle, bro. When you get that vehicle, man, you examine it. You check the miles out. You know what I'm saying? You make sure the AC running. You make sure the brakes working. You examined it, man. You don't go off the beauty of the vehicle. You want to do the exam, and you examine your vehicle, but you ain't examining these females, bro. And, a lot of bros play a part of these women, showing their ass with little shorts or basically getting these BBLs with. A lot of brothers get distracted, man, and they just, drop the value of themselves and focus much so on the woman body parts instead of, examining these women, getting to know them. I was looking at a dude on Instagram. He's from Atlanta, real tight cat, that drop reels. And by the way, you know what I'm saying, I'm dropping reels too on the gram. I know that everything, picking up slowly, but at the end of the day, it's best to do this the slow way than the rush way, and for everybody to pick up the slow way than the rush way, because, we last forever, us people that take our time with this, with our craft or whatever. But, let me, drop that out the midst. But, brothers tend to focus on a woman body part than to get to know a woman and see where her head at. See if this woman don't have, strong soul ties. Not trying to see if this woman don't have mental health. Not trying to see if she do have mental health, my bad. Not trying to see if this woman, have soul ties. Not trying to just, take the test and read the questions. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of dudes, they just taking the test without even reading the questions, and you know what I mean? Just answering the questions by not reading the questions. You know what I'm saying? Like they just answering it. And they going off their own answer instead of, questioning these women with getting to know them and everything, man. And yeah, like I was saying, a dude that I watch on Instagram that drop reels, he from Atlanta. You can tell he's street slash motivational, but he give it to his followers, raw and uncut. But I remember him saying, man, lust is a sin. He said, you want me to tell you how I know lust is a sin? Say lust is a sin because niggas get fucked up baby mamas from it. Niggas get, they get, soul ties from it. Niggas get, messed up girls dogging them from it. Like, he didn't say it the way that I'm addressing it, but, he threw that in the loop as far as, like, brothers getting fucked up baby moms and, fucked up women out of lust. And he felt like he was basically, to break it down, he was basically just addressing, like, how lust is a sin and how us, man, that trap into lust, man, we get karma from, that, which is true. You know what I'm saying? Like, lust don't, I'ma just get that shit, get it twisted. I mean, not get this shit twisted. Lust basically, man, don't have you attract the woman of God, man. You attract succubuses. You attract women that come an angel. Well, not even, yeah, you do get them. Let me reverse that. They do come an angel of light. You'll get the women that come an angel of light. But once you start getting to know them, you start seeing where their head at. Because nowadays, man, women already talk a lot. So it don't take you no time to really get to know a woman for real. Like, and then the time we living in, man, like, basically, you know what I'm saying? It don't take you time to get to know anybody because everybody just addressing themselves, fast, whether it's even through social media. Like, they out here addressing themselves fast enough for brothers to pick on and catch on. And a blessing, the blessed part of this journey is, brothers that's on the spiritual path, for God to give us red flags, because I would be lying with women that I dealt with that was succubuses, that I'd be lying to y'all if I say God didn't give me any red flags from those situations. But of course, me being like any other brother, I'm thinking that, okay, since she got a real pure man, that'll change, or, this situation to change for the better. And, she'll adapt to her having a real nigga by her side. But in actuality, man, like, you can't save her, neither is God. She's on demon time. And the devil is, the devil have her soul wrapped in something I noticed in life, man. Like, basically, something I noticed, man. A person will have to change, especially us adult. A person will have to change for themselves. It's not our job to basically try to change someone, is what I noticed. And, I played that role of trying to, excuse me, I gotta get some water in my system. Hold on. Cast it away. Cast it away. I had to pause for a minute. Hold on, brothers. Okay, I'm back. I was running hot. I had to cool myself off. You know what I'm saying? Running hot. Had to cool myself. My bad, brothers. But, something I noticed, man, is, and then I gotta open the door, get some air, because, boy, it's hot. I don't know what the degrees is, but I'm definitely feeling it. And I'm guessing my age, I'm getting older or whatever. So it's like my body, different, get a lot different throughout time or whatever. But a lot of brothers or whatever, they feed into the lust or whatever in life when lust is not the way. You know what I'm saying? It don't take you getting to know a woman by lust, and they come an angel of light. And you don't want to play that role to be a brother, to be in those shoes of, going off of, a woman body part. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of women, feeling like that's the only thing that they're good for is their body parts. They're not feeling like they're good, you know, with their personality. And then a lot of women, don't take the time out to reveal themselves or even, you know, review themselves because they too busy trying to be in competition with other women and be in competition in his life to a point they don't get a chance to, reveal themselves. So it just, you know, and I can agree the women, in this world are under attack, just like us men are under attack. But the beauty of retention, man, is that you able to reveal, you know, you able to reveal your character, the character of yourself. You able to reveal basically the Most High working into your life. You able to reveal that you want good, genuine women in your life. The reason why I say women, because it's man, us men love women. And, even just you being a single guy, like, you know what I'm saying? You can still talk to 4 or 5 women, 3 women, but, like I say nowadays, man, by you not giving a woman sex, by you not even linking up with a woman, by you not even with sex, not linking up with a woman, not taking her out on a date, the time will reveal itself if she'll stay or leave, because nowadays these women cocking deuces and they going on to the next guy. So, it don't take you time out of those 5 women to see that only 2 gonna stay. Or hell, nowadays 1. At first I was getting them 2 by 2 when I was in my big lust stage. I would lose 2, get 2, lose 2, get 2, lose 2, get 2. And I ain't gonna lie, man, it's different personalities when you dealing with women. Like women, you can deal with 4, 5, you can deal with 5, 6 women, and out of these 5, 6 women, they'll have like 30 personalities at one time, because that mind wonders a lot, but which is good, because a woman intuition or whatever, is very strong. So it's always good to keep the woman thinking, or feeling, but it got to be very positive and not negative feelings. Got to be positive, to make you a better man, or to make the relationship better, or to make herself a better version, or to make you a better version or whatever. But the beauty of this journey, man, is you able to enjoy the real beauty of a woman instead of the outer beauty. A lot of women are not concerned with the inside of themselves, so why would they be concerned about the inside of a man when they don't, respect themselves? They think on the outer side of life instead of the inner side of life. They in love with the outer side, and it causes, them to not even know what a pure good man is, because they don't even know their inner self. And a lot of you brothers, y'all have to be very aware and very careful, man, with the women that you choose, and let it be deeper than her body parts that you choose, man. Let it be her character. Like I say, man, it's good for her to be beauty in the inside and outside, because it matters, and there's a lot of women out here walking around with, looking good on the outside but not good on the inside. Or you got the ones that's good on the inside but not good on the outside. You know what I'm saying? They ain't keeping their body healthy and working out, and not keeping themselves in shape, because you got to stay in shape as a woman. You know what I'm saying? You can't be, big or, gaining weight, because, you gotta, become a healthy version of yourself and keep it healthy. You know what I mean? I met a chick yesterday while I was Ubering, because I do Uber on the side or whatever. And it was this girl, that, we was talking or whatever. And I forgot how many miles or how many laps or whatever. I forgot what workout she was doing. But she had weight on her, And I loved her energy, man, how she was so determined to lose her weight and, deal with it naturally and count her goals and keep up with her runs and keep up. Like, ain't nothing more beautiful than a woman that's working out, keeping her inner side and outside straight. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of women don't even understand, when they look at themselves in the mirror, they get stressed when they see the weight they gain, or, it causes them to get stressed out and eat more. It gains their appetite and stress them out to want to eat more and everything. And, on this journey, man, basically, man, you have to appreciate life, man. And retention, that's the beauty of it, man. You able to appreciate life. You able to value a real woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, being trapped in lust, man, you're not gonna find a godly woman, man. You're gonna keep being like these damn rappers. Like, these rappers, they be in the midst, they'll be understanding that this shit's spiritual to a point they'll be in the midst of wanting to change / fighting their demons. But, they'll be trying to change, but then they'll have to rap a song back about fucking women and fucking multiple women. And, the power of the tongue is very powerful. Like, whatever you speak, you manifest that shit on your life, like, with what you speak. And a lot of them, they be fighting, trying to change the way that they're thinking, and they're trying to change the way with attracting whore women and, or just whoremongering to a point like they in the midst, like they at the battle with the devil and God, instead of, walking God way. And that causes them, man, to be at a real big, strong depression. That's why I say, bro, the industry could get wicked. That's why a lot of these guys on drugs and pop perks, of course they try to make that lifestyle look lick and cool. But in actuality, man, that shit, is not even cool. And, man, ain't nothing but what? A year of fame. Like, after that, after a while, the shit die down. Now, on to the next life, on to the, like, that shit don't last forever. They get these drugs, they get high, and, that causes them to have a lust spirit, too, to a point. Like, a lot of these guys be trapped into lust, man, and that's the only thing that they know and attract is lust for women. Like, if they were just a regular man, they wouldn't be able to attract their godly woman. Like, and that's the beauty of retention, man. You able to be yourself. You don't have to keep up with the world. You able to be yourself. And by you able to be yourself or whatever, man, you able to be just fine with living your life out of the world means. And you attract not only godly people, you attract godly women too. But brothers, man, you must do this practice for spiritual purposes. Do this for spiritual purposes and do this practice, man, from the heart, man. Do this practice, man, out of you doing this practice, man, to gain your spirituality. I'm going to tell you all this story, man, and then after this, I'm going to go ahead and, go ahead to grab me some items and go pick my babies up and, go to my hometown and pretty much chill with my other son and, have all my kids with me today, for Father's Day, and that just make me feel good every time. Just knowing, these kids bring natural life and they're naturally happy. We the adults in this world. I know this off subject, man, but we the adults in the world that got bill problems and all these problems. And what I hate to see, man, is fucked up parents that's out here, man, that basically bringing their problems on to the kid problem when the kid is naturally happy off a light in the world. Like, they don't have a care in the world to a point they're naturally happy. We got our happiness stripped away from us with all this worldly shit. But these kids, they tap there spiritually still. That's why I want to raise my kids to stay spiritual, man, and don't lead that spiritual happiness. But, that's another video, but I'm going to just tell y'all this story, man. Like, basically, this girl, like a friend of mine or whatever that I was cool with, I blocked her yesterday. But, make a long story short, man, me and her, was cool. And, we was, I wouldn't consider me and her dating because I'm not trying to date anybody. Like, I'm trying to, work on myself and keep this retention stuff at light and follow the Most High, because the Most High guides you on this journey. But she, addressed yesterday as far as like, you know, with me, she was addressing about me basically, and everything she addressed about me. Don't you hate to run across women that feel like they can tell a man about how to be a man? And these the same women, that don't know a real man's shoes or didn't grow up in a married household. They grew up, if they did grow up in a married household, it was toxic. They didn't have a steady household to know how a real man move or to even respect a real man. But she addressed something to me yesterday, and she was saying basically how, I didn't move. And, remind you, I didn't reach out to her. She reached out to me, because when I don't talk to these women, I really don't talk to them to a point like I believe in moving on and moving forward. I scared. But she was saying like basically how she feel like, you know, I didn't like her or whatever. And nowadays you'll get women that feel like taking them shopping as you liking them, buying them things, not the outer, but the inner. You try to get them to tap in spiritually, but they so in love with the outer side of life to a point, taking them out on casual dates. That's, because everybody I feel had their real meaning of, seeing how a man like them. But me personally, I tap in spiritually. I like to tap and connect spiritually with women to a point. That's how I would show a woman that I like her is, by, me moving in the spiritual realm, on my spiritual life. But she addressed to me like basically how she felt like I didn't like her, which I already know with what I just addressed, with, of course, this, they want to go on a date and things like that. A man that's going to spend money and this and that, and no knock, you know what I'm saying? But me personally, I just don't, with what I done been through and me having a daughter, that's another thing. I don't know if you fellas have daughters that's on this journey, man, but that makes you want to, follow retention too as well, and not having a love spirit if you on the spiritual journey and have a daughter. But I know I keep getting off the story, but to make a long story short, she was addressing to me the man that she felt like I wasn't being in her eyes to make her feel like I didn't like her. So she addressed, I ain't gonna tell the full story, but she addressed out of her mouth and saying how every other man she dated, even the man that she had recently dated, when, I stopped talking to her and stopped reaching out to her or whatever. And, fellas, don't ever live your life, having a woman address to you what a real man is or what a real man does or how, a real man should, treat a woman. You stay away from them women, because a real woman just gonna let the man lead and she gonna follow, and then she gonna adapt to, him spiritually, and it's gonna be, y'all, having spiritual connects to be able to deal with each other in this world. It ain't gonna be, the controlling spirit or the nagging spirit, or, I feel like, well, you gotta do this, and that's something else, man. Don't go for a woman that use you a lot. Like a lot of women pointing fingers, but instead, you know what I'm saying, they ain't revealing themselves to even attract a godly man to a point like, you know what I'm saying, they jump from man to man. But to make a long story short, I didn't want to be the man. She felt like I wasn't trying to be the man that she wanted me to be, which she didn't say this. I just put two and two together, with saying that, of course it was me not being the man she wanted me to be or whatever. But yeah, it's like, she said, like, from the time me and her stopped talking, which, she felt like, I don't know, she had like I never called her phone or whatever. Every time I reach out, and half of the time I didn't reach out because I respected, the space thing. And me personally, I'm big on space. So, I wanted her to give me space because I felt like she wanted to cuddle 24/7, you know, but something I can say as far as her work ethic is 100%. So, I respect that about her, that her work ethic 100%. She go to school. On top of go to school, she got a good paying job and, a good career ahead of her, But, that's worldly stuff. I'm talking about spiritually, and I felt like spiritual connections, we couldn't connect with each other. So, I wanted my space or whatever. So, I still reached out and communicated and talked on the phone with her. But, she made it seem as if like, oh, well, I always got to be the one reaching out to you. You never reach out to me. But remind you, she acting like I never touched the phone. And something, rule number one, man, a man is real big on his peace. Rule number one out of everything. And, I address this with multiple women. A man is real big on their peace. And basically, man, it's like she just, it's like she just nagged a lot about everything. So this where, I hit 2 and 2 at. So, I know we wasn't in a relationship, but I thought that I was the guy, that had her best interest to a point. Like, she wasn't going to step outside. She was going to reveal her life. And you know what I mean? We work on ourselves and still at the same time communicate, but moving slowly. She was expecting me to ask her out fast and take her out on multiple dates. But, a lot of dudes don't get to know a woman just by taking them out on date. Hell, let's go for a walk on the park or whatever. Let's drop out of worldly shit and let's talk on the phone, for which we did do that. But, let's talk on the phone. Let's get to know each other. Let's sit down and, have lunch at a table where there's no audience and it's a noise and everyone there. Let's go somewhere alone with us, just us two in the bushes or something, and have a picnic. I'm a weirdo. I'm a nature person, so I like to do natural nature stuff. But let's just tap in spiritually and block off all this worldly stuff, and that as well will show you what kind of woman you have too. If she just have high expectations for you to be this higher person, to do higher things for her or whatever. But make a long story short, this the end, because I know I done went in circles through telling you all the story. But what made me block her is when she said she skipped and went to go date someone else because she thought that she feel I don't care about her or didn't like her, which wasn't even that. It just, like I said, me taking my time and being patient with her and being patient within myself, because people don't understand, man. Throughout this life, we got to self-reveal ourselves, man. We can't be lusting. We can't be in multiple relationships, man. We have to, focus on one person, but at the same time, focus on ourselves. Put God first. Focus on yourself second, so you can be a better version, and then y'all settle for each other at the right timing. And everything happened perfect timing instead of rush. Like she was talking about the love at first sight. Like I told her, the world we live in, love at first sight don't exist, man. Like, even people of other races I see on Demon Time, like real love don't live here anymore. To a point, you have to be patient and take your time. And I got kids, so I'm moving very careful with who I'm dealing with or whatever. And then, you know what I'm saying? I thank God for changing me to not, since I done got full legit custody of my babies, I thank God for changing me to not be in certain situations dealing with multiple women, doing things the lustful way, because the shit backfire on your kids, your daughter and stuff, and it does get the opposite. Say for instance, if I'm a man that dogging women, you know what I'm saying, then the man gonna dog my daughter, or a woman dogging women gonna dog her son. You know what I'm saying? That shit reverse. So that's another reason of me being patient and not being in the hookup culture and just taking my time one step at a time and living off patience instead of in a rush, because that's how it happened better and the best of it or whatever. But basically, man, she addressed, like, her stepping outside of, instead of revealing herself and, then taking her time with me. She stepped outside because she felt like, she didn't want to, work towards, being in a relationship with me because she felt like I didn't care. So she said she started dating someone else. And what's so crazy, man, if a woman for you, she for you, bro, and she's gonna become a better version of herself for you. If you see some things that you can call her out on, or she sees some things that she can call you out on, for the best and for the better, for when y'all do get in a relationship, it be the best of the best or whatever. Never feel like, one person right and the next person wrong. Let's come together on some stuff and be right together, and let's make it make sense or whatever. But she said she stepped out and talked to someone. She didn't tell me they had sex, but nowadays, the world we live in, man, if a woman dating somebody 9 times out of 10, the sex getting in. And then when me and her started talking, I easily had sex with her. Not trying to say every woman that give it up fast is a whore, but you know what I'm saying? In actuality, man, it lasts longer. You keeping your sex away from women and getting to know them. Like I say, the time we live in now, man, you'll know if you're dealing with a righteous woman if you're not giving her sex and she's still around. Because nowadays, a woman, you can hold that from a woman, that and materialistic from a woman, and she'll go wander off to the next man, and the next man to give her that life, and that next man give her that life, she going for dick to dick, and then, try to wander her way back to you. Like, that's acceptable, and you will be a man to fall for that stuff. And say, for instance, y'all get a mad day and y'all hook up with each other. And once a mad day come, y'all hook up with each other. Y'all break up or separate, and she go fuck another dude because you let that, you open that door up for her to be a straight cat to come back to your house, you know what I'm saying, without fleas and all that shit. Like, you just let a straight cat back in after you let the straight cat go to the streets and be a straight cat or whatever. Which, you know what I mean, you let a person stay there in the streets and keep your door closed. So that's why I blocked her yesterday, because, I'm self-respecting myself to a point that I have self-revealed myself. And that's what I love about retention, man. I'm not going for the lowest of lowest. I'm going for the highest of the highest. And I want to attract that godly woman in my life, man. And you know what's so crazy? Even on Father's Day, I got, women from my past wishing me happy Father's Day. You know what I'm saying? Which is cool. I don't have no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't even communicate anyways. But, at the same time, man, to say that, I know this is 33. I didn't mean to make it this long. And I know it's about time for me to go get my kids and for me to go and get on this road. But I'm going to just say this and close it out, man. Like, basically, that what makes me have self-respect for myself, knowing that I'm holding standards to be a real man out here, to stand on business, what they call it, to stand on business, to have a woman, in my life that understands a real man, for me to attract a real woman. Because, I can admit, I met this woman out of lust. And every time you meet a woman out of lust, even you meeting a woman out of saying you wanting a woman. Because I remember a woman that I prayed for, I kept praying night by night for a woman that, for me and my kids, and me to have a woman, and me to have a family. And guess what? The devil sent me that woman with a nice body, pretty face, and I'm going to call out because she'll never see this channel, or she may do. But Jasmine, You know, she came perfect shape, nice booty. You know what I'm saying? You know, ain't nothing wrong with, you know, loving a woman, body of art. It's a difference between loving it and lusting it. You know what I'm saying? And I lust over the body. And not only the body, the looks too. You know, I lust over that. And God brought her in my life. And, you know, her kids played with my kids. You know, it all tend to be like, you know, a happy family. You know, she cooked meals. You know what I'm saying? She helped bathe my kids. You know, my kids was even starting to, that's another thing, man. Be aware who you have your kids around, because, you know what I'm saying? That as well made me want to be on retention, because these women will come around your kids with the game plan. You know, and they don't give a damn about looking at it in a spiritual way and a family way now, man. It's about what you can do, who can give this and that. But, you know, I ended up, you know, thinking that it was a family thing out of me just praying, you know, for this woman to come as a family, and she came as a family just for her, you know, at the time. That's why I don't want to move in with a woman either. And, you know, then, you know, got a place of my own and on my feet and everything, and me not, you know, I just can't do it. But, you know, I prayed, and, you know, at first her and her kids was at the apartment I had, but my lease was starting to end. So she went to buy a house because she had great credit in McDonald or whatever. McDonald, I guess how you said, McDonald, Georgia. And, you know, she had great credit and everything, and purchased a house. And she addressed way before we got the house that, you know, she'll take care of the rent and I could just do the utilities, you know, since I'm, trying to get on my feet and everything. And remind you, I put in job apps, blase, blase, blase. But to say this, man, the lady came as, you know, the woman I prayed for, just to be sent from the devil to strip me out of my identity and to strip me away from the powerful side of life that I wanted to, you know, feel that was powerful, that I felt that was powerful. Just to leave me and my kids out in the rain. Like, she kicked me and my kids out, man. And, you know, I ain't gonna lie, man, that really broke my heart. Like, you know, my homegirl who from Atlanta, who I'm still cool with, you know, the next day, you know, she helped me go and grab my stuff. But, you know, I left the other stuff there. But, you know, she kicked me and my babies out, bro. And that broke me. You know what I'm saying? I had to go right back to my hometown, you know, right back to my mom's house, stay with my mom. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was only for like a couple of, like probably a month. A month I stayed with my mom, but I had to start all over from scratch, man. And brothers, you don't want to tap into that lust spirit and they come angel or light. You know, I'm going to say this and close it out. You know, I ain't going to get fully in the story. But you don't want to be a brother to fall victim of a woman stripping you away from everything to a point like, you know, if on a mad day, you know what I'm saying, you back at zero. She done drained you of everything and, you know, got what she wanted out of a situation and leave you flat in the mud to a point, your kids or whatever, and your loved ones or whatever, leave you in the mud. And, you know, I don't think a man know going through to lose everything behind a female, man. And that's the beauty of this journey, man. You able to evaluate and, you know, be aware of demonic women that come into your life, man. But I'm going to just, you know, drop this and get my day started. Brothers, be aware of the women that you attract, brothers. Be aware of the life that you know, think that you want or whatever, that the life, like, let that shit be deeper than the looks and the body, man. And get to know these women, man. Evaluate them, bro. And no, I don't mean 2 months. No, I don't mean 3 months. No, I don't mean 4 months. Hell, sometimes it take you to get to know a person years. You know what I'm saying? And you'll know if she's sent from God. And that's another thing. I'm going to say this and close this video out. God, all praises to the Most High, spiritual downloads. Brothers, and my sisters that's watch, I'm going to drop a bar right here. That lust spirit is going to have you attract succubus women. That lust spirit going to have you attract whoremongering men. That lust spirit, you can go to hell, get to hell. You think you're gonna attract a godly woman being super lustful, man? Why you think rappers keep attracting the same type of modern women, man? Because they don't know, bro. Like they the power of the tongue through their music, what they talk, they attract women, and all the women they attract look the same. They got the fake ass hair, the eyelashes, and nothing natural about their themselves, to a point they just lost in the fucking sauce. And brothers, you don't want to be a person to be stuck in a lust lifestyle, man. To block your godly woman, man. God, remember this. God don't move on time. He stay on time. He don't come when you want it, but he stay on time. Meaning, man, you gonna notice when you attract a godly woman how your spiritual gonna rare, and that feeling that you gonna get with attracting a spiritual woman, man. You gonna know. But meantime, in between time, stop going from relationship and get to know these women. I see a lot of guys on this retention journey, man, that masturbate and say, dang, I gotta release and start my days over, including me. I didn't fall victim to it to this day, and I'm fighting myself to this day, but I'm becoming a better version of myself, man. But keep this shit going, man. Keep having God guide your life, man. God will guide your life and guide you to the right wife. But, I know I made this video 41 minutes, but all praises to the Most High for giving me the spiritual downloads to drop it for me to give you all a 41-minute video. But, y'all have a blessed Father's Day, man. I ain't gonna hold y'all up. I even got a partner to pull up on when I get to my hometown with him and his kids. And I told him I'd be there at 4, and I gotta go start ahead to get the kids and everything, and get this day going and have a beautiful day. But brothers, y'all have a beautiful day, man. Tap in, like, comment, subscribe, man. And this channel is gonna get bigger than big, man. Every YouTuber I know that's big started like me with 1 like, no views, which doesn't matter. If I'm able to speak and touch one person, I did my job. You know what I'm saying? I did my job. Everybody else gonna follow the light when they follow it. But I ain't gonna hold this video up long. Y'all have a blessed Father's Day, man. Peace, love y'all.